Hey, Paul.
Yep.
Remember yesterday when you said you were going to send me an Arc browser invite?
Vaguely. What are you trying to say?
Just checking the time here.
What's your problem? What's your problem?
Checking the email.
I don't know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
no, I can't check email here because Outlook is replacing mail and calendar. Not now, hopefully never. Nope, nothing. Paul Thurrott. Left me hanging.
Yeah, so just I told Brad yesterday that I'd gotten an email. Sorry, I'm trying to do like a two-factor thing here. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at it and it literally said I had to send it to you by 9 a.m. and we recorded the show at 9 a.m. So I sent it at like 9:18 or something. And I got that email overnight that night. Like I had like 2 seconds to make this happen. So that's what happened. I don't know. I can't explain it. Well, I did just explain it, but I don't know. Before the show, I'm like, oh, I got this email. I could invite people to ARC. I'm like, cool. And then it's like, yeah, you get like 10 seconds to do it. Like, I didn't realize it was a real time thing.
Yeah.
Well, plus I didn't even think you'd even care. So I'm sure it will come up again or something.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry.
Yep.
My mistake. Well, not really. I mean, honestly, I feel like that was on them,
Yeah, it was on them to not read and understand their own emails.
Well, I barely looked at it. I didn't. I'm like, okay, whatever. I can invite people. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. 2020 called and said if you want to use your Teams meetings in Mesh 3D or whatever, you can now do so, but only on a Meta Quest.
I think there's a huge market for legless meetings. I don't quite understand this thing, but whatever. Let's take this thing that most people will probably use for entertainment and turn it into something boring and weird,
Yeah, at least they put it, on the Vision Pro, which is the hot new thing. So I wonder if Apple went to them like, hey, you want to put your virtual Teams things in our app too? And Microsoft, they may have. Microsoft are like, nah, we're not doing that.
Right. Well, but they did Office, right? The Word, Excel, etc. I think those apps are, according to the description, native to Vision Pro, whatever that means. It's got to be coming. Maybe there's an exclusivity thing with Meta for some period of time.
Yeah, maybe they paid for it. Maybe that could be a justification.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't see a big call for this, regardless. But
you know what, Paul? I think you're wrong. You know why? You know how I know you're wrong? I think Meta paid so much money to Microsoft for exclusivity on this. That's how they got to that $3 trillion valuation. It all lines up.
That and the HoloLens with the Army, like just threw it right over the top. If you could make a product and just ship it on one piece of hardware, but they pay you a lot of money for it, success.
You just define the iPhone.
Well, yeah, at a scale that is vastly outstrips.
Yeah.
Everything else. I mean,
yeah, Microsoft the valuation. It's not meaningless, but it's not. Right. Nobody's buying them for $3 trillion. Nobody can, unless you're the U.S. government, I guess.
Sure.
But even then,
well, right, it means that they're not going to be acquired.
Yeah,
I think is what I guess it does mean that. Yeah, because this happened. Of course, you go back and look at things from the past, and Apple reached this number, I don't know, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, a couple of years ago. But hitting 3 trillion isn't the same as being above 3 trillion, right? Because the stock market, right? So I don't remember the exact number, but Apple hit 3 trillion, but then didn't end a day at 3 trillion until several months later. Maybe it's 8 or 9 months. It was a long time. So, Microsoft ended the day at 2.9 something trillion or whatever, and we'll see. I mean, it's very clear to me that the way that Wall Street works, the way that investing and shareholders and all that stuff works, is that this AI thing that Microsoft's doing is at least successful in this level. And honestly, this can help fund. This is a virtuous cycle in some ways, right? I mean, this justifies the expense.
Sure.
They are the number 1 or 2 most valuable company in the world, depending on the second we're looking at the stock prices. I mean, they're right there.
What would be Would be a
Good.
hilarious headline. Like rumors start floating around. It's like someone's acquiring Microsoft, and we're like, oh my god, who is it? And then the headlines are like France. Like it's just a country. Like
I don't think France can afford it.
I don't think any.
You know,
country
honestly,
really.
I
I mean,
don't know.
it
3
actually
trillion?
cough up. I mean, I guess the U.S. could if they just started printing money and
I mean, yeah, I was
about
going to say they'd
inflation,
have to
but
go into debt somehow.
Some,
Yeah, that's
yeah, you know, we're good at doing that. Like,
Well, there's probably other ways they could just nationalize it. You know,
yeah,
it'd be like
I mean,
an
that's.
insane type of thing.
Hey, remember those HoloLens headsets that didn't work and they just
Yeah.
roll up with an Abrams? Just like
Yeah, exactly right. Actually, they work great. Also, we're taking them.
yeah, they work so well that we're taking it.
Well, you thought Microsoft was slow moving now. Or unpredictable. I don't know.
I just imagine these like Blackhawks just like flying over the soccer fields at Microsoft campus. Just
You know, it's more likely if that ever happens, those Blackhawks will be owned by Microsoft. That's the only thing, you know, Richard
Yeah.
was talking about this yesterday. The only thing Microsoft is missing is a standing army, you know,
yeah.
and an air force.
Well,
They
it's
could
called the
afford
Insider
that.
program, right? They'll die on any hill.
Yeesh. They'll all be running surface duos. It will be the most horrible defeat in the history of military.
How did we get flanked? Well, we had 7 chat
well,
apps.
I know we were busy flipping the thing around. And there was a crease in the middle. I couldn't see the dot on the map that was the enemy.
How many hours of meetings would be dedicated to which version of Teams are we talking about now?
Exactly right. How come? Yeah, right. How come the Pentagon isn't joined? Oh, they're still using the one in Windows 11. They don't know how it works.
It says work and school, but this was Teams, and for this is work and
This is a South Park episode waiting to happen.
it really is.
You know,
Really,
actually,
is.
this was part of the South Park movie in a way. You know, the military calls in Bill Gates, and they're like, "You said that Windows 98 was going to be simpler and whatever," and he goes, "It is, but Windows 8," you know, and then they just blow him away. So like whatever, dude. You know, that kind of Bill Gates nasally whine description of whatever product. God, I miss that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least those days. I don't know.
Balmer also screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pounded around on stage, sweating out, sweating through his shirt.
Satya Nadella has obviously done great things at Microsoft, but he's just not entertaining. He's not an entertainer. Like when Steve Ballmer was on stage, you knew something loud and very sweaty was about to happen.
Oh yeah, no, it was a show.
Yeah.
Yep. No, this guy, it's like watching cardboard now.
Yeah.
Is something happening? I can't even tell.
Yeah. But they're a $3 trillion piece of cardboard versus what are they even under the Ballmer era was not like a third of that. So
yeah, I mean, right. I mean, to be fair to him, he did set in motion everything that happened since.
Sure.
I mean, the cloud stuff was him. But honestly, this is part of how Wall Street works. The public face of the company was the boring guy to them who had been there for, since the early 80s or whatever it was. And, I don't think we can overstate how important it was to have kind of fresh new blood.
Yep.
And to signal this different Microsoft, even though it's not different, other than the presentation style. But yeah, that all played a role.
Yep. Well, yeah. I don't know. It's what, Thursday? I get losing track of time and mental stability.
Yeah. Same thing. I woke up this morning and I'm like, man, I got no time. I got to go get a present for my brother-in-law, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's for tomorrow. I have plenty of time.
So I'm gonna browser invite. He would
wait till
love that.
tomorrow. Well, I already got it. I sent him that yesterday at 8:59. He wouldn't even know what it was.
You know who would like this? My brother-in-law.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought of. When it comes to tech stuff, Brad, I think of the non-technical people in my life. Honest to God, he would have no idea what was going on there.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even understand why I sent it.
Yeah, I classify those people who Microsoft looked at the blue E and said we can't change the blue E when we went from Edge to Edge
Right,
to Edge.
right. Although you have to wonder if that didn't harm Edge as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been a mistake. It's hard to say.
Oh well, maybe they could rename it Bing. Maybe that would do something for now. Just kidding. That would be.
I mean, listen, I could picture them renaming Bing or Edge to Copilot, right? I mean, Copilot in Windows is Edge, so I mean, whatever. It's basically.
I'll tell you what. One place we haven't seen them ram AI down our throats is actually the browser.
Why on earth would you give them ideas? Well, Copilot is, there's a big button there, and they've got the side
I guess maybe.
Yeah.
But it just kind of feels like maybe that would be their thing to try
I
to.
need AI on Xbox. They should screw around with that thing. We were worried that the dashboard was getting too quick, said no one ever. So we thought we would add AI to it.
Look, we solved the performance problem with this new generation.
We're trying to figure out what you want, and it's gone horribly wrong. Here's
it's
a
coming.
painting of a Flemish master. No, I just wanted to play Call of Duty. It just doesn't really require much reasoning. In fact, arguably none at all. God, I miss Call of Duty.